place. What an amazing place. And thank you all for being supporters of the Daniel Center. It's an honor to introduce you to the former Deputy Chief of Staff and Meretz Knesset member Yair Golan. Major General Golan has an exemplary and honorary 38-year IDF career. Among his roles was the Deputy Chief of Staff, Commander of the Home Front, and Commander of the Northern Command. I'm going to keep going. There's a lot of accolades here, but I'm going to be brief. Under the Lapid-Bennett government, he served as the Deputy Economic Minister. In 2023, Major General Golan became the leading figure in opposition to the government's judicial reforms. Throughout his military career, Golan was a courageous field commander, but also an independent-minded individual who spoke his mind at times and even disobeyed orders he believed to be mistaken. In March, Major General Golan launched his campaign to head the Labor Party, which would eventually incorporate labor, Meretz, and other elements of the Israeli left. Again, it is my honor to introduce you all to General Yair Golan, but before I do so, I think I'm going to pass it back over to Rabbi Meir.
Hi, Erev Tov, the Israelis among us, and good afternoon to those that are coming from North America to our ambassador circle. I would like to remind you that next week we are hosting another general, former general is Doron Almog, and then we'll have the opportunity to bless you and us for Passover. Thank you, Yair, for joining us. Edith, maybe you'll say a word before we'll start, and then Yair, we will meet you and get to know you. I don't know if you know that, guys, but our member, Rabbi Gilad Karim, a member of Beit Daniel for so many years, was a partner of Yair Golan. He's probably the first one in the Labor Party that supported the candidacy of Yair to be the head of the Labor Party, and probably more than the Labor Party. I will try to do my share from Meretz side to support the integration between the two parties and forming a new frontier. That maybe we'll talk about that later, Yair, about your vision to the state of Israel, for the state of Israel. But Edith, maybe the rules of order and a few words about Beit Daniel, and then we'll start.
Great. Well, welcome everyone. It's really lovely to see new faces today and our loyal friends and supporters. It's really a great mix of people. As you see, we are recording the event for others who can't make it, and we'll send it, of course, to you all if you'd like to share this with your colleagues and friends. In brief, the Ambassador Circle events are our way of keeping a dialogue and connection between committed diaspora friends from across the world and Israelis, keeping the bond strong. We face so much global pressure, anti-Semitism, threats, and this bond is needed all the more today, especially as we look to rebuild Israel with an Israel grounded in values of equality and pluralism. So I want to thank you all for joining, our board members, all our friends and family who are on the call. We will ask you to hold questions and put them in the chat. And then after Yair Golan speaks, then Meir and him can do the Q&A, and then we'll continue with the program. So I will now hand it over to our esteemed guest.
Yair, Erev Tov, to you in Israel. I would like to start by asking the questions that we ask ourselves again and again, Israelis and Jews from all over the world. What happened October 7th? What happened? And if you can tell us that from your perspective as a soldier, as a politician, as an Israeli as well.
Well, I would like to say that, like in any other military blunder around the globe, along the history, it's always the combination of political failure with military failure. Otherwise, you don't have this, magnitude of disaster. What happened in Israel is the following. Benjamin Netanyahu got the Palestinian arena in the most favorable situation in 2009. It was just after Castled operation. The Hamas was weak heavily beaten by the IDF, and the Palestinian Authority was relatively strong. Any reasonable prime minister would have done the following: further strengthening the Palestinian Authority and keep weakening Hamas by more and more military pressure. Netanyahu chose to do exactly the opposite. Why? Because of the pressure from the extreme right, because he was not willing to take the risk of taking any initiative concerning the Palestinian arena. This is the origin of this failure. But more than that, this policy, you cannot convey this policy to the Israeli public. And therefore, he established this notion that we can handle the conflict, we can manage the conflict. He called it conflict management. But unfortunately, conflict with your enemy is not like a glass of water that you can move from one place to other place according to your will. On the other side, you have an opponent, and this opponent has no intention to cooperate with you. And this opponent has other perceptions about the future. So, Hamas, after Kastled, understood that all is needed is to gain enough power in order to inflict some sort of disaster on Israel. His first attempt was by penetrating the Israeli border with tunnels, but it was blocked after the operation of 2014. In fact, we have managed to understand the magnitude of the Hamas project, and we managed to block it. So Hamas moved to B plan, and the B plan was to penetrate the Israeli border on land, and from the air, and from the sea. And that's what exactly he did on October 7th. So no doubt, there is also a military huge failure. And this combination of wrong perception created by the political echelon with the willingness of the military echelon to cooperate with this wrong perception, these together, in fact, created this terrible blunder. It's pretty much the same 50 years before, on October 6th, the Yom Kippur War. Again, it's exactly the same. And if you want to track back the American failure in Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941, it's also the same. It's always the combination of the political echelons and the military echelons. And I claim that we need to change our government, not just because of October 7th, but mainly because what happened before October 7th and after October 7th.
Yair, let's go from here to what happened after October 7th. The army, the IDF operation in Gaza. We are wondering what is going on right now. I mean, what is the situation? We went to operation. It looks in the first few days that it works very well. As an expert, as a soldier, as a commander, and we just mentioned few of your ranks and position in the Israeli army, what can we understand about the situation right now in Gaza? I'm talking about the army.
Yeah. Well, I would say the following. The military operation is quite successful. And after 6 months, we have managed to inflict terrible blow to Hamas and to the jihadic Islam as well. But there are no political goals, no national goals for this war. Where are we heading? What should be the end state of the war? Unclear. How to free all the hostages? Unclear. Is there any possibility in real life to free all the hostages and to destroy Hamas entirely? No way. I think every reasonable person understands that. What is the way to make sure that further weapons won't be delivered to Hamas after the war is ended? No answer to that. Who is going to take responsibility for the border with Egypt? Who is going to take responsibility for the recovery process of the Gaza Strip? When and how we will be able to let Gazans citizens to move back to the city of Gaza? You cannot concentrate, 2.1 million people only on the southern part of the Gaza Strip. It's impossible. Whatsoever, it's one of the densest places on earth. 2.1 million people on 365 square kilometers. So where are we heading? No answer. What about the northern front? We have created a security zone on our land. In fact, we lost sovereignty to the northern part of Israel, along the border with Lebanon. It's totally unacceptable. And no one sees at the end of this, emergency situation. It's a shame. It's a stain on the Israeli history. And all is that is because the Israeli government has no ability to define clear goals for this war. If it's up to me, if tomorrow morning I become a prime minister, I will do the following. First, we need to free all the hostages as soon as possible. It's not just, a commitment to the families and to the kidnapped persons that we failed so terribly. It's also about the cohesiveness of the Israeli society. If we neglect them, we have no way to recover. If we do care about them, well, that symbolizes that we are still one. So I think it's a national goal, much larger than the lives of 133 hostages. Freeing all the hostages means that we need to have a deal with Hamas. So we won't be able to destroy Hamas entirely, gods know what is, exactly destroy them entirely. It will take years to destroy them entirely, if it's possible. So, yes, we will live with Hamas, for the next few years, for sure. And we can live with it. Like we lived with Hamas for many, many years. Hamas was established in 1987. We need to remember that. The third goal is to block the border between Egypt and the Gaza Strip in order to prevent a build-up process from Hamas. The next goal is to recover the enveloping area around the Gaza Strip. This area of Israel was devastated. And we need to define loud and clear that this is a national goal, to make it the most prosperous, the most vivid area of Israel from here as a national project. And the next goal is to bring international forces and regional forces to recover the Gaza Strip. We don't want the chaos we have right now in the Gaza Strip, because the best condition for terror is chaos. The best condition. And if we want to open a gate for a better future, we need to handle this recovery process in a very deliberated manner. So we need to do that. I believe that by reconciling the situation in the south, we will be able to reconcile the situation in the north. And if I'm wrong, all right, we need to concentrate all our efforts in order to cope with Hezbollah and other Iranian proxies along the northern border. So it doesn't matter. You need to calm down the situation in the south in order to be well prepared for the north, or in order to recover the area along our northern border with Lebanon.
Yair, I would like to take you for a second to allegations that we hear from all over the world, about the army operation in Gaza. Genocide and words that are, running all over the world. I'm sitting right now in Prague. The situation here is great. I mean, Czech Republic, the people here loves us. But all over Europe, you hear that. In the United States, the feeling is that we lost a lot of people because of the pictures coming out from Gaza. As a soldier, as a leader in the army and IDF, what is your answer to this, to those allegations, to those, this campaign that runs all over the world against Israel?
Well, on the one hand, we need to compare the way we fight in the Gaza Strip to other cases around the globe. Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Ukraine. And we need to understand that while fighting in such a dense area, there is much collateral damage. So this is, from the professional perspective. But at the same time, we need to admit that there were events that harmed the Israeli cause in an unbelievable way, that also influence the public opinion around the globe. So the minute a minister in the Israeli government called for, throwing atomic bomb on Gaza, come on, are you crazy? The minute soldiers put a sign, unfortunately, according, it's not in line with the military commands, but they put a sign, we are going back to Gush Katif. This is a shame. This is a stain on the IDF. So this is terrible. And I think that right now we must be much more cautious concerning the way we use force, we use power in the Gaza Strip. We need to adjust the level of using power to the overall operational situation. And I recommended the Chief of Staff to be much more cautious, to take maybe more risks, but in order to lower down the level of collateral damage, because right now it's not just a military campaign, it's a national campaign with much foreign affairs perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yair, I heard from you criticism toward the right government, Ben Gvir and Smotrich, Let's go for a second to the situation in the territories, Judea and Samaria. It's part of the story. What is going on there? What is your view about the situation there and about any kind of a settlement between us and the Palestinian Authority regarding to Gaza or regarding to the unrest that is there in the territories?
Well, in order to provide an answer for that, I would say the following. We need to remember once and for all that Israel, for the long run, has only two options: separation or annexation. No other way. Separation and annexation. Annexation is the end of Israel, is the end of the Zionist project. And we need to admit it. The fact that there are lunatic extremists in Israel who are willing to annex Judea and Samaria and the Gaza Strip and to implement the decisiveness plan of Bezalel Smotrich, which is a kind of a fascist plan. This is outrageous. This is not the Jewish people. This is not the Israeli people. And we need to fight it furiously. This is an issue that really tore the Israeli society from the inside. I claim that we need a government that moves on the path to separation. We need to do it in a well-deliberated manner. We need to keep security in our hands. We need to reach, or we need to implement the following formula: civil separation with security responsibility by us. This is the only way to move forward. This is the way we take the right lessons out of the Oslo process and out of the implementation of the disengagement plan. That's the way to move.
For a second, can you talk a little bit about Hezbollah, the threat from the north, that from an American perspective, the world perspective is not in the main, is not in focus. We talk about Gaza, we hear about Gaza. Most of the world doesn't hear about the conflict that's going on right now in the north. You just mentioned the fact that Israelis are out of their home. We talk about 67,000 Israelis that are living, according to the government, probably it's more, living out of their homes. What is the option there? What is the situation there, and what is the Israeli option? And what will happen if this frontier will be flamed? And we hear a lot about the potential damage to the state of Israel, to our security and to life.
Well, I think that concerning Hezbollah threat is very serious. Hezbollah, by the huge support of Iran, managed to build a military power which is comparable to, well-armed Western nations. So it's something really serious. I would like to mention that Hamas also got much military experience in the ongoing civil war in Syria by sending, all kind of military advisors to Yemen and Iraq. And therefore, it is a very serious threat. On the other hand, we should not exaggerate the severity of the threat. We can handle it. But in order to do that, we need to have a break in the ongoing war. We need to prepare the IDF for future campaign in the north. We need to gain as much as possible international support, and mainly the support of United States of America. So we cannot start another war tomorrow morning. We need to prepare it. And I think you cannot be well prepared for such a war without the civil recovery process for the South and for the North as well. So a reasonable Israeli government should have said the following: we need to be prepared for a war tomorrow, but it's better for Israel to reconcile the situation in the South, to have a long break along our northern border, to recover the civil population, and to enter a military process of preparedness. This is the way to move forward. This is the most favorable option for Israel. But again, in order to do that, you need a reasonable government. We don't have a reasonable government right now.
Maybe tomorrow. Yair, let me go with you for a second to Iran, the threat from Iran. We're waiting. What is your assumption? What will happen? You command the frontier with Iran for a while. You're the deputy commander of the Israeli army. What is the situation there, and how you can connect that to the atomic bomb? I mean, they're using this time, as we understand, to promote their nuclear program.
I would like to say the following: the Iranian threat is a rising threat, and it's a threat with, in completely other magnitude comparing to past threats we dealt with along our short history. First, it's a rising threat. We need to remember, Iran is a very strong country, 84 million people, with much resources, 19% of gas reserves on Earth, 11% of oil reserves on Earth. They don't need to buy uranium. They dig uranium from Iranian mountains. But more than anything else, Iran enjoys much human resources, qualitative human resources, good universities, good research institutions, very impressive industry. We need to remember, they sell today, they supply the Russian army with UAVs, with drones. A few years ago, with such a saying, you would call me, crazy person. But this is the situation right now. So it's a very serious nation. The other issue is that Israel built its power for many years to cope with enemies that we have, common border with them. We are not the United States of America. We have no ability to send expeditionary forces overseas. There is no ability like that in Israel. So it's a completely different challenge. Adding to that, two main facts. The first, Iran coped with Israel by many proxies. In Lebanon, the Hezbollah, Shiite militias in Syria, in Iraq, and in Yemen, the Houthis in Yemen. So in a way, it's a kind of enveloping movement, strategic movement of Iran that managed to encircle Israel from both sides, from the north, from the south, and of course from the east. Iran is a destabilizing element in the region. Iran is a terrible threat for the Jordanian kingdom, for Egypt, and to any other moderate Islamic state in the region. The Emirates, Bahrainis, Saudi Arabia, and so on. So we have here a common enemy. And therefore, in order to secure the destiny of Israel, we must have regional alliances and strong international support. Therefore, we need to move forward with the Palestinian issue, and we need to provide some sort of a hope for this two-state solution in order to galvanize the support of the Islamic moderate states in the region. They won't come with us without some sort of a commitment of Israel to the two-state solution. We must reconcile the situation in the Palestinian arena in order to gain the support of Western Europe and the United States. You can, the American policy is 100% clear concerning that. So all in all, I would say the following. Israel has two main threats, the Palestinian one and the Iranian one. We cannot reconcile entirely the Iranian threat, but we can reconcile partly the Palestinian threat. Therefore, we need to lessen the pressure from the Palestinian arena in order to be much better prepared for the Iranian arena.
Yair, people gathered today to meet maybe the future leader of the state of Israel. I mean, this is your claim, this is your direction right now. Can you say a few words about how you see the state of Israel, not from that perspective of Gaza, Iran, Iraq, Syria, whatever, but from the story of the nation, the people of Israel? How do you see Israel as a nation, as a community, state and church, and all those issues that really concern us in this point? We just had a terrible year before October 7. You were always in the streets. We saw you, we saw and we heard you again and again. What can we expect if you will be within the leadership group of the state of Israel?
Well, first thing we need to take responsibility for it is cohesiveness. We need to reestablish cohesiveness. The notion that in Israel live different tribes, it's terrible, terrible. Tribal society creates falling states. We should not be happy with this notion that we live in tribes. So we need to take care, to reestablish the Israeli cohesiveness. And therefore, we need a common national story. Common national story is about a state with a vast Jewish majority, because this is the homeland of the Jewish people, and at the same time, free, egalitarian, democratic state. In order to establish such a state and to sustain such a state, we need to separate ourselves from the Palestinians. And the best way to separate ourselves from the Palestinians is by directing Israel on the path of this two-state solution. We cannot implement this solution tomorrow morning, but this is the vision, and we need a vision. We need to well define, what is the Jewish nature of this state? Is it Orthodox? Is it ultra-Orthodox? Is it Reform or conservative? What is all about having a Jewish state? I claim that we need to make any Jew in the globe to feel extremely comfortable in Israel. We need to convince by practical measures that Reform Jew in Israel is going to be extremely happy living in Israel. And why not? What is the reason to provide priority for Orthodox and ultra-Orthodox, solely? Why? No reason for that. We need to remember and we need to implement all measures needed in order to promote equality. Egalitarian society is a better society. I know that in the United States of America, it's not exactly the situation. And maybe this is not, the leading ideology for America. But in Israel, we must have egalitarian state. We need to provide equal opportunities to every girl and boy in Israel. This is the way to establish a strong society. And in Israel, the strength of the society is well connected to the issue of national security. The third issue is we need to rethink what about the ultra-Orthodox? For years, we allowed them to hire the walls around themselves. This is not the right way to build a healthy society. We cannot force them. We should not use coercive power, but we need to talk with them and we need to convince them and we need to pressure them in order to lower the walls, in order to be more and more integrated into the Israeli society. We need to convince them that they need to study and they need to work and they need to serve. And we can do that. I can tell you, I met so many ultra-Orthodox Haredis guys in the first week of the war around the Gaza Strip, coming there trying to help. Do you still hear me?
Yeah, of course.
All right, just.
Yeah.
And no government in Israel in the last 30 years have managed to talk directly to the people. Why should we talk to them through their political leaders or through their rabbis? We can call them directly. The Israeli government should conduct a public campaign that call them, all right, we want you and we want you to be a contributing citizens of Israel. We need to move forward with more and more integration. Of course, we need to fix our democracy. The Israeli democracy is very weak. We don't have a constitution. We know that even with a very impressive constitution, there is still a threat to democracy. But we need more and more barriers. We need to redefine the way we divide power in the Israeli society. And I have mentioned the last thing. We need to reestablish the connections between Israel and the diaspora. Because part of the strength of Israel, an important part of the strength of Israel, are the connections with the diaspora. So let's move forward and do it. But in order to do that, you need to replace the government.
Great, and I think that I can add in this point, Yair, that when you talk about Haredim, you mentioned, I mean, probably you refer as well to the Arabs community. They need to be part of us. We should open more the door to put them together with the Israeli. I mean, it's quite obvious to people, but I'm not sure that everybody understood that. You're talking not just about the Haredim, you're talking about the Arab community that is really needed to be part of our society. Yair, you can stay for two questions. It's okay. Yeah, good.
Yeah,
two questions, Edith.
So the first one we would have is from Kay, who, if she'd like to speak, we can do so. And it's more about the military operation and the Hamas hostages. I mean, the hostages that Hamas has is, how do you even negotiate with Hamas when they really won't agree to any terms? So how do we make that a priority?
Well, we know how to negotiate with Hamas. It's not, we do not negotiate with Hamas directly. We do it indirectly, but we know how to do it. And in fact, we are doing that, in this current moment. So it is possible to reach an agreement. I have no intention to say it's easy. I have no intention to say that you won't experience, ups and downs in the process. But we did nothing in the last 4 months. This is totally unacceptable.
The last one, very short, Edith.
Yeah, it's from Alan Warshaw, and is, if we want to change the government, but recognizing that the population is not progressive but rather conservative in Israel, how would we shift back towards labor's values and the old Labor Party's values?
Well, it's a crucial moment in the history of Israel. Israel, will be a strong liberal democratic state or messianic dictatorship. No other way. It's a point in time. We are standing in a junction, and the real issue is, where are we heading? Are we willing to support the more extremist element in the Israeli society, the ultra-nationalistic elements in the society, the fascist-like elements in the society, the most corrupted elements in the society, the most sectorial elements in the society, or we are willing to support the strong movement of liberal democratic Israel? I would like to gather all possible forces in order to fight for the destiny of Israel. This is truly a crucial time in history. And we can save Israel. I believe that. I believe the level of volunteering, the level of civil responsibility, of civil activism, all that is so impressive, so impressive. So we have a terrific power in our society, a positive power. But this power should determine the destiny of Israel. It's a matter of leadership. It's a matter of optimism. It's a matter of activity. So let's do it. And we will do it together. So therefore, I would like to thank you so much for the ongoing support of Israel, the ongoing support for the destiny of Israel, and together we will be better.
Yair, thank you very much. I know that you have to run to another meeting. I would like to emphasize again that my friend, our friend, Rabbi Gilad Kariv is one of the major supporters of Yair Golan while he's running
a wonderful person and a great leader.
We know that. He grew up in our community of Beit Daniel. Yair, thank you for your time. I know that you're very busy. Good luck in your efforts to change the state of Israel, to add the spiritual part to the state, and whatever you do, do it. And fifth, I know that you have to run. Yair, go to your other meeting. Guys, stay tuned. We have
Thank you so much.
to tell you. Bye. Yair,
bye. Bye.
Edith.
Oh, yeah. So thank you everyone for being here. And we thought, we can have a few more questions and answers among us and with Meir and so forth. But I wanted to first ask Sandy Sewell, who's a board member of ours here in the States, if she would lead us in the prayer for Israel. And Josh, if you can put that on the screen, that would be great. And then we can stay on and have some more insights from Meir on the ground.
Should I start?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Protector, rock, and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for our redemption. Shield it beneath the wings of your steadfast love and spread over it the shelter of your peace. May a spark of your spirit inspire the action of its president, prime minister, officials, judges, and advisors, that they may follow the path of righteousness, liberty, and freedom. Strengthen the hands of those who build and protect our holy land and grant them salvation and life. Grant peace to this land and everlasting joy to its inhabitants. Be near to all the people of Israel throughout the lands of their dispersion. Plant within their hearts the love of Zion, and may those of your people who are so inspired come to Jerusalem your city which bears your name. Spread your spirit over all the inhabitants of our land. Uproot hatred, jealousy, and evil. Plant in our hearts love and peoplehood, peace and friendship. And speedily fulfill the vision of your prophet. Nation will not lift sword against nation, neither will they learn more anymore. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.